Hello guys, welcome to my channel English Vocabulary with Mahfoud. Today's vocabulary is very interesting. We will see very beautiful vocabularies, two words that they share the same meaning, and people know their meaning, but sometimes you don't know how they can use them in context and how they can pronounce them correctly. In the vocabulary of today are advice and advice. Let us see the differences. Let us see how they are different from one another in the episode of today. The first term we shall start with is advice, and advice is a term that we consider as a noun, and it is written with this form with C and to represent the form of noun, and it is pronounced as C. And advice, in terms of pronunciation, we have to pronounce it as C, advice. But before we start with the examples to know this, let me give you a vocabulary here that is shown on the screen. Counsel. Counsel is a synonym of advice, and it is very formal, and you can use it in your conversations or even your writings. Okay, now let's see the examples to know more about advice as a noun. Example: take my advice and see a doctor. Okay, here it is written with C and it is pronounced as advice. Take my advice and see a doctor. The second, the teacher's advice was useful. The teacher's advice was useful. Okay, if we say, for example, the teacher's advice was useful, the advice, it's not correct because the noun should be pronounced as C. Okay. The third example, he needs advice from his teachers. He needs advice from his teachers. Okay, advice as a noun must be pronounced with C sound, not with other sounds. Now let's move on to the second term, that is advise. Advise with Z sound, it represents a verb. Okay, a verb represented. Advice must be pronounced with Z sound. Pronunciation with the verb advise must be pronounced with Z, as it is shown in the examples here. The first example: I advise you to do some sport. I advise you to do some sport. Remember, we cannot say I advise you to do some sport. If you say it, it will be misunderstood and you will be wrong when it comes to the meaning you want to convey to the speakers. Okay? The second example: my doctor advised me to lose some weight. Again, we should not say my doctor advised me to lose some weight, but we have to say my doctor advised me to lose some weight. This is the correct form of the verb. Now let's see the recapitulation of the whole session. We've talked about many differences. The differences in terms of many things, we shall see them. Advice and advise are different in terms of their grammatical category. What do we mean by the grammatical category? We mean that the grammatical category of the word, it could be noun, verb, or adjective, etc. So advice is a noun and advise is a verb, and they are different when it comes to the grammatical class or grammatical category. And advice and advise are different in terms of pronunciation. Therefore, they are different in meaning and context. And let me tell you something about the pronunciation. Pronunciation is very important in English because it affects meaning. In general, many terms in English, the pronunciation affects their meaning. We have sometimes two terms that share the same meaning and they are pronounced differently. When we pronounce them, they look very different, and we shall see those vocabularies during the episodes we will make in our channel next time. Next vocabulary will be from you learners, from you guys. You will pick up the right vocabulary, the vocabulary that you have problem with, and just tell me in the section below. And try to subscribe to the channel and like the video if you like it. And till then, ciao. See you soon.